The purge of the orbiter's fuel cells is now underway, and the data processing engineer has confirmed that the onboard computers are in the process of making the transition to the terminal countdown configuration. The primary ascent software is in the Ops 101 configuration, and Commander Brewster Shaw will now take the backup flight system and put it in the same Ops 101 terminal countdown configuration. This is an exciting mission, not only for NASA, but also for a number of customers. During this 7-day mission, Morelos will be deployed on the first day, just 7 hours and 18 minutes after launch. After a separation maneuver by Atlantis, the PAM motor on the satellite will fire 45 minutes later to boost it into an elliptical transfer orbit with an apogee or high point of 22,300 miles. The AUSAT satellite for the Australians will be deployed just 51 minutes into the second day of the mission, and it also will use a PAM motor to boost it into geosynchronous transfer orbit. On day 3, the RCA SATCOM will be deployed and preparations made for the first of the 2 EVAs. The first EVA on flight day 4 will last for approximately 6 hours, during which the EASE, or the pyramid safe structure, will be constructed. The next day, the crew will concentrate on mid-deck experiments and prepare for a second EVA to take place on flight day 6. This will again be a 6-hour EVA, during which the 45-foot high access experiment will be constructed. In order to close the payload bay doors when it's time to come home, both structures will have to be disassembled. Flight day 7 will be devoted to preparations for coming home, and landing will occur on flight day 8, or December 3rd at approximately 6:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Edwards Air Force Base, California. The mission actually lasts only 6 days and 22 hours, 54 minutes, slightly less than 7 days, but the way that flight days are calculated is based not on elapsed time, but calendar days as celebrated at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. The countdown clock proceeding at T-minus 17 minutes, 5 seconds and counting, everything going smoothly. The payload director here at the Kennedy Space Center, John Conway, has completed a poll of the various customers, the SATCOM KU-2, the AUSAT Morelos, and the various mid-deck experiments, and the managers of those payloads have all reported they are go for launch. T-minus 16 minutes, 30 seconds and counting.
OTC PLT. Go ahead. Horizontal shift config is complete. Copy, thank you, PLT.
Coming up on the 16-minute point in our countdown, T-minus 16 minutes and counting. In the Atlantis' cockpit, pilot O'Connor is in the process of performing the main propulsion system helium reconfiguration. He will open helium isolation valves, which will permit in-flight purges of the engines and provide an emergency source of pressure for the pneumatic shutdown of the engine. The data processing engineer has reported the backup flight system is in sync with the primary system, and we are ready for Houston to transmit their pre-flight uplink commands to the backup flight system. These loads are sent from Houston via the Mila tracking station and puts the 5th general purpose computer in the proper configuration to watch quantity levels in the reaction control system and the auxiliary power unit tanks, and do other housekeeping chores as needed. T-minus 14 minutes, 42 seconds and counting. The cross-feed valves between orbital maneuvering and reaction control system propellant tanks are being configured to the launch positions, and the orbiter test conductor has asked the pilot Brian O'Connor to report quantities of reaction control propellants in the forward left and right tanks. The booster test conductor has been asked to start the gaseous nitrogen purge of the aft skirt. This purge, this flow of inert gas, ensures that no explosive or flammable gases can accumulate at the bottom of the SRBs prior to ignition. T-minus 14 minutes and counting.
Go ahead. Report RCS quantities forward, left, and right. Roger. RCS quantities forward. Oxidizer 69, fuel 69. Left. Oxidizer 100, fuel 100. Right. Oxidizer 100, fuel 100. Copy. Go ahead.
The pilot Brian O'Connor reporting on the quantities in the various propellant tanks as we come up on the 13-minute point in our countdown, just 4 minutes away from going into our final 10-minute build-in hold at the T-minus 9-minute point.
By the clock, would you work step 948? 948 through 951 are not performed. Okay, thank you. That was easy. You're welcome. And all personnel, the countdown clock will hold at T-minus 9 minutes for a 10-minute build-in hold.
T-minus 12 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. Everything going very smoothly. The RCA SATCOM K2 on board this mission is another space first for RCA. Not only is it in the forefront of direct broadcast technology, but it's also pioneering in the use of a new, more powerful propulsion assist module, allowing the satellite to weigh almost twice as much as previous satellites using PAM motors. RCA has often been in this position through the use of new, more powerful rocket techniques associated with the Delta launch vehicle, and in some cases was involved in the funding and development of the new engines. This new generation of spacecraft uses 45-watt transponders, which permit the use of Earth ground stations as small as 3 feet in diameter. Because it also operates in the KU band, which is not used for terrestrial applications, those antennas can be placed in cities where there is high microwave traffic in the area. The satellite is another step in the trend of increasing the amount of power in satellites in space, which allows the ground stations to shrink accordingly. The satellite has already been contracted for, half of that by the NBC television network. Coming up on the 11-minute point in our countdown, everything going smoothly. T-minus 11 minutes and counting. The flow rate of conditioned air being blown through the orbiter's payload bay has been verified to be approximately 180 pounds per minute, and contingency support operations have been verified to be ready for launch, and emergency aircraft and personnel are on station. The T-minus 20-minute dump of the orbiter's general purpose computer memory has been completed.
Go ahead. 939 is complete. Copy. Thank you, PD.
And we're T-minus 10 minutes and counting, just 1 minute away from entering our last planned build-in hold in the countdown, for the launch of 61B. The status of the vehicle is go at this time, and the onboard computer programs have been examined and verified to be the proper ones. All the aero surfaces and actuators which will steer the vehicle through powered flight are in the proper configuration for applying hydraulic pressure, and the flight crew has completed their cabin leak checks and communication checks with the launch team and flight controllers. We're coming up on the T-minus 9-minute hold. T-minus 9 minutes and holding. This will be a 10-minute built-in hold extending until 7:20 this evening. When the countdown resumes, the ground launch sequencer will be in full control.